Hello everyone, so we've finished looking at the attacking patterns and now it's time for a new pattern. Patterns related to the bishop patterns. So all about this wonderful piece. So the first pattern we have here, the first pattern of the bishop's patterns, is the long-ranged protector. And this is the pattern, so basically you have a bishop on this diagonal, you bring it back to g1. Now this pattern is all about kingside safety, where the bishop bolsters the kingside defenses, and the bishop on g1, also very importantly, still has the same range of motion. So there's this common saying in chess, this principle basically, that bishops are long-ranged pieces. What that means, I mean that's obvious from the way they move, but what that means is that they can go back and still have the same function. So just tucking your bishop back is quite good. So let's see the one thing to remember. I included here actually the h1 square, and you might be wondering why. Well, the reason is that the king would usually sit here, right? So when you bring your bishop to g1, usually the king has moved from g1 to h1 after it has castled, of course. And why is it important to be careful of that? Because in some cases you have to be really cautious, because the king being on h1, the bishop on g3, and if you consider the pawns being as such, let's say there's a queen here. And can you imagine now what happens? A knight here would be checkmate. A pattern that's actually a bit common in Crazy House and Bug House. Yeah, so you have to watch out for that. Okay, now let's take a look at our first sample game here. We have Daniil Linchevsky against Dmitry Yakovenko. Two very strong players, illustrious players. And yeah, we have this Siciliano here, and we're going to get to the position where eventually the bishop gets tucked back here, refusing the trade because that would only help black develop the queen and start increasing the pressure on the attack. And here the bishop on g1, it's very safe, and yeah, it's just maintaining the same function it had over here. And here now, like, you're way less worried about the king because rook takes f1 wouldn't come with a check. So let's see how the game proceeded. Now it was a draw, so I'll go through this very quickly. I think white had some chances early on, but yeah, no, this is just a draw now. Now let's head over to sample game number 2. Just a moment to make sure everything is working. Yep, it seems to be working. Okay, sample game number 2. Yeah, so e4, c5, knight f3, and another Siciliano. And here also we're seeing this king h1 stuff, and this rook f2, rook d2 maneuver is very creative, and this rook, it wasn't doing anything here, and now look at this. Also notice that the bishop also came to f1, so that's another long-ranged piece thing. And actually it's a pattern, but I haven't included it in the video series, only in the book. And now we also see this bishop coming to g1, but you know the knight is here, so like if the queen gets here, watch out, right? But yeah, that's not going to happen. Now the knight comes to f4, and eventually white is able to win. He has the bishop pair, and c3, very important, controlling this knight jump. Yeah, all of this is just conversion, all about conversion here. Notice how the king being so active means that the bishop can't take here because it would be trapped. Go through this quickly, and the pawns are all on dark squares, which isn't so pleasant for black. Here white finds a nice pawn push, and yeah, is able to win in the end. Okay, time for our test. So a game between Jean Ren, Koch, or maybe Koch, and against Jean-Marie Dubois. Okay, so this is the Aliyechen defense for pawns attack. Something I do recommend that you play, by the way, because engines recently, it has been gaining in popularity, this line. Okay, but this isn't an opening discussion now. So yeah, here we have h6. Now the question is, what would you play as white? Now if you're familiar with this position, theoretically from the Aliyechen for pawns attack, power to you. You know what to do here. And yeah, there's a good chance you might be familiar with this because it's been gaining a lot of popularity, this line. And I have to say, I was a front runner playing this line. of course, because people look at what I play. Anyway, so yeah, what should be done here? Pause the video, try to figure the plan out. Alright, so the plan will be revealed. Let's go through the opening again if you want to see the alliation for pawns attack. And now comes king h1. You know the drill. Bishop is coming here, and these two pieces are just chilling. Nothing will ever bother them. And this is exactly what happened. And now the rook came here, adding some pressure on the open files, or semi-open files. And yeah, this position, black's bishop is terrible, and this bishop, while looking strong, it's not really doing much, while white's bishops are doing something in the position, and you know, the piece activity is just way better for white. So yeah, so this line is just great for white. I love it against the alliation. And here they blunder the queen and lose the game. Well, I mean, they want to take on f2 and stuff like that, but that doesn't work because, well, at the very least, they're staking and like queen f5 check. Yeah, so that's it for this video, guys. Hope you learned about this very important maneuver. Try to use it in your games. I actually use it a lot in my games, especially like in the alliation, because I play this for pawns attack stuff against the alliation. So try to keep it in mind, and yeah, thanks for watching. Take care, guys.